Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the J Rock Show. Happy Wednesday this time. We have a special episode of the J Rock Show coming at you all from the SimWorld TV studios. It is July 23rd, and I am not alone this week. My interview with Jay Midoriya from last Friday fell through, so we decided to make it happen this week. I am joined by Jackson State freshman guard Jay Midoriya, the MVP of the Last Dance Championship game, formerly of the Bay Area Breakers. Welcome to the show again, Jay. How are we doing on this Wednesday afternoon?
Man, I am fantastic. I'm not even gonna lie, to be completely honest with you. Um, especially after coming back from Louisiana. I'm recently now back in Jackson State, working out with D, working out with Coach Williams. It's been a lot to go and process over the past couple of weeks. Honestly, I got a lot to sit back over here and say. But I honestly want to sit back over and talk about how SWU is just going to be an exciting season next season, man. I could sit back over here and say that. That's all.
Yeah,
That's the very first thing I want to state.
yeah, and you're making your return to the show for the first time since you committed to Jackson State on the air back in January or February, I believe it was.
Yeah, just about.
Yes, it's been a while. It's been a long time coming, and it's the off season, so it's a good time to kind of catch up with these SimWorld U players and have a guy like you back on heading into your freshman season. You say you have a lot to say, but starting off, I think I kind of want to throw the easy question at you, and that's you mentioned D Woodley, and he's back on campus for his senior season, and there's been a lot of doubt about his decision to kind of come back to campus. And what do you kind of have to say to the people who are doubting his decision to return? And what do you have to say about your own personal relationship with D as your new mentor?
I'm gonna sit back over and state this. So honestly, of course, everybody know the reason why I chose to go to Jackson State is because they bet on me. I did have somewhat of a controversy between Memphis. I really honestly don't even want to go into it, but let's just say me and Memphis basically got crosshairs in between. Let's just put it that way. Other than that, like with D Woodley and his decision coming back to Jackson State, honestly, me talking to him over since me committing back in January or February, I honestly I'm excited to sit back over here and work out with him because I told him for weeks on end, I'm studying your game because at first, I mean, like I was his stature. I was like 5'11". Then I grew into 6'1", and I just been trying to learn how to be aggressive and how to score. With his skill set as well as of course with his stature and his size, it just made it make sense for me to kind of like learn from him. Now I could basically like learn firsthand because me personally, I'm a visual learner. So, that's the reason why I put in the film study and everything else in between. Now I get to see how it is live firsthand and how I can replicate it, how I could be able to not only influence it with my game, but make it better as well. Um, but in any case, I mean, to be completely honest with you, my personal opinion is just far fetched. I got a teammate that's willing to take up, 18 to 20 points per game, willing to also be able to average an additional 5 to 7 assists per game as well, can spread the floor. Who wouldn't want D Willie as their backup or even as their, uh, in their corner?
Yeah, backcourt mate. I definitely get that.
Right.
I The one thing I'll say is I know a lot about him, and I everything I've heard about him within that program is that he's a leader. So that's kind
That's
of
a fact.
yeah, that's
That's a whole fact. If between both of us, I mean, Coach Williams always stated that both of us have always been the hungriest. But what really relates it, because like me, I'm gonna be realistic at practice or during scrimmages between us, like team scrimmages, intra scrimmages. I love matching up against D because number one, it's it's helping me defensively, and number two, it's also helping me understand and learn what it's like to guard like a perimeter scorer like him, as well as of course what he does in order to make himself become more successful, become uh more effective without having the ball in his hands and things of that nature now
Yeah.
more than ever. But he's always been a leader. He if it's not me, it's usually him going to be the first one in the gym, the last one to leave. Uh, he just puts in the hard work, hard dedication every single day. And honestly, that leadership is something that you definitely want to follow suit with, and you want to display in your own personal way as well. So
Yeah, I definitely understand that, but as good of a resource as D Woodley is for you, how about Mo Williams? This is a guy who's been an SWBA All Star, has played with guys like LeBron, Chris Paul, Kyrie Irving. What's the best advice that he's given you entering SimWorld U?
honestly, I'm gonna be realistic. So Kyrie Irving is actually one of my favorite players, but and I'm still the nickname that Maestro gave me. So me being the inquisitor that I am and being persistent, I always asked him questions about how CP3's IQ was, because a lot of people sleep on CP3's IQ. Now with Kyrie, I mean, of course, I always asked him, how did Kyrie prepare for basketball games and things of that nature in regards to like scoring wise. But I always wanted to know in regards to being like a true point guard, what does what did Chris Paul do to make himself become more aware of situations? Um, how did he study the game? How did he prepare himself for the game each and every day? Because Chris Paul could be that player that could score 20 and still be dropping like 15 to 16 assists per game. So that's just something that I honestly wanted to learn a lot more about. And having Coach Williams, especially for him being that long tenured point guard, he did win a championship with the Cleveland Cavaliers. He even led a couple of teams when he was, you know, off and about in his own little NBA career path. you know, just learning from him and being taught from him is just a different experience, especially since, like, in his case, he was around superstars. And of course, he also took it upon himself to become a leader in his own right as a veteran and teaching all young guards. So having him as that, not only that coach, but also that mentor in a way to help me become the two-way dedicated, perennial SWBA product I want to be. I personally would want nobody better. I mean, of course, everybody would sit back over there and be like, "Hey, I want John Stockton, or I want this, other that, or Magic Johnson, or somebody else like that." I guess, but I mean, Mo Williams being that type of coach, he always had like IQ formatted plans anyway. So that's honestly the number one guy I would honestly love to have in my corner, if anything, right now.
Yeah, and I get that. Sometimes the guys who aren't as uber successful, someone like a Mo Williams can be a better coach than a guy like a John Stockton, is what I've seen in this industry. So I like that you brought that up.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm gonna be honest because I was a Brooklyn Nets fan when KD was playing with them. I mean, let's say like, you see what Jason Kidd did with the Nets in comparison wise to what Steve Nash did with the Nets. I could just point it out that way.
Yep, definitely. And some guys are player coaches, some aren't. But I want to ask you. I want to change gears a little bit. I kind of want to come back to what we're talking about right now. But Jackson State is the unknown HBCU. So committing to a school like that, what kind of message were you hoping to send to young young black kids and men and women all over the nation who are looking to pursue a career in basketball, or even if they're not, what are you trying to show them as a role model in a sense, Jay?
Pick your own path, please. It doesn't matter about going to a Power Five conference or going to a mid-major conference. Damian Lillard was drafted by the Portland Trailblazers playing with Weber State. CJ McCollum, after dropping 30 points against Duke in 2013, ended up getting drafted by the same Portland Trailblazers. It doesn't matter what school you go to. The only thing that matters is if you're putting in the hard work and the effort in order to get there. Of course, everybody wants to go to a Power Five school. They want to be in that national television broadcast. They want to have that spotlight. But who's to say you're not gonna get that spotlight just after you get drafted? Who's to say you're not gonna get that spotlight? It only takes one chance, one opportunity, bro, in order for y'all to shine, in order for you to be that superstar that you want to be. Plain and simple. It don't matter if you play for North Carolina, Duke. It don't matter if you play for Davidson, Dayton. It don't matter if you play for Mississippi, Missouri Valley State, whoever. It really doesn't matter. Like, plain and simple. You could go to any school. I mean, just like what happened in Hoopsteria to what last season, the parity was clear. It doesn't matter. We saw Duke lose to St. Mary twice in the same year. It doesn't matter who you play for. As long as you step up when the light shines brightest, it doesn't matter. Plain and simple. That's basically what I'm displaying, or at least what I want to display towards young superstars or young African Americans, whether they're males, females. It don't matter where you start from.
Yep.
Plain and simple. It matters about what the results play through.
Yeah.
Everybody sits back over there and says straightforward and to the point, I put in the grind and the effort, but then next thing you know, some of them go to, these Power Five schools, these schools that got high expectations and everything else like that, and you see them shrink. Like, I mean, I'm gonna point it out like this. I mean, I've been a studier for game for years. I want to point out like how Andrew Wiggins was his first year in college. Now Andrew Wiggins is like a perennial NBA player now, but comparison wise to, let's say, somebody that started that same freshman year, Jabari Parker. Let's point it out that way. Jabari Parker started out his freshman year playing with Duke. He averaged about 28 points per game, and Andrew Wiggins averaged, I think, like 18. High school Andrew Wiggins was dropping about like 47 to 50 points per game, and Jabari Parker was dropping the latter. He was averaging about 30 to 35 points per game. And everybody pointed out that Andrew Wiggins was going to be this perennial freshman, things of that nature. I mean, but in certain games, and in many games, comparison wise to Jabari Parker, other than that game against CJ McCollum and them, well, I'm sorry, no, other than that game against Mercer, there wasn't really much in regards to comparison wise on who most people thought was going to end up having a better NBA career comparison wise. Now, if we talking outside of like mid majors and things of that nature, I'm sorry, I'm trying to think about a a huge player that came out of a mid major other than Dame and CJ McCollum. Matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, Obi Toppin. Obi Toppin came out of Dayton, and honestly, now next thing you know, he played on a perennial team that almost won the NBA championship. They were one quarter away from winning an NBA championship.
Yeah.
Literally one.
Yeah, and
So
you could even throw Paul Millsap in there. He played at Louisiana Tech.
that too, yes. I knew I was forgetting somebody. Paul Millsap as well. Paul Millsap, a perennial player. He was a set, like, I want to say at least about a 6 to 7 time All Star. Um, Led the Atlanta Hawks to at least several of their greatest seasons of all time, along with Al Horford, Jeff Teague, Kyle Korver, and Thabo Cephalosha. That should say a lot in regards to, it doesn't matter who turns out to be an NBA perennial player. You can sit back
Yeah.
over there and build a team out of literally anybody and still be able to kind of like make any type of thing happen, plain and simple.
Yeah.
So
That's what the
the
SWBC is,
parity is
though.
clear,
Jalen
right? But the
Williams,
parity is
Santa
clear.
Clara.
That too, Jalen Williams. How did I forget that? Jalen Williams as well. Jalen Williams he didn't come out of any type of Power Five school, and he dropped. Look at him. He ended up dropping what, 42 points in one game
In the finals,
in
yeah.
the NBA Finals. Yeah. So like, it doesn't matter. Your product remains clear, plain and simple. You gotta be able to step up when the shite's bright, when the shite's are brightest.
Yes, definitely. And I like what you're trying to do as a role model and what you're trying to represent because sometimes it can be a lot of different things. It can be a lot of glitz, a lot of glamour, and you're trying to portray a realer message to people like to people who could be walking in your shoes in 10 years time.
Yeah, I'm a minimalist. So so like all that like to be honest with you, and I remember when Rick Blaze was talking about it earlier, he was like D Woodley lost 15 million in regards to being a lottery pick and things of that nature. Now to be honest with you, I'm gonna state this out very clearly, because like me personally, I grew up in the early age in the SWB industry. I already know how the business works and things of that nature. If you're making endorsements, there's certain game incentives, there's certain things that you can always be able to make to also make extra money on the side. Like you get extra money on the side for being an All-Star MVP. You get extra money on the side for being, an NBA Finals NBA MVP now, Eastern Conference Finals MVP. There's a lot of incentives to it. Now, next thing you know, it's more than one way to sit back over and skin a cat, basically, or make $15 million in the NBA now,
Yeah, that's
outside
the
of like
BIL coming
you know
in.
the right outside of a main contract. So for many people that want to sit back over there and chase being a first rounder because of the money aspect, I mean, you got to think about it vividly clear. Look at how Shaquille O'Neal is as of right now. He's making multiple $1 million contracts just based off of endorsements in his likeness and his name. So realistically, I mean, that NBA contract is just one sound form of income.
Yep, you're definitely right, and I I like where you're coming from on that front, but I want to ask you something a little differently now. You're one of the youngest players in SimWorld U right now. You're only 17. You reclassified up a year. So, how does that being one of those younger guys in a conference with guys like Benari James and Cam Jones and Barkley James, even and Lace Darius Outlaw, how does that affect your mindset?
They dogs. I'm a dog too. Just because I'm younger doesn't mean anything. I played against two of those names on a regular in open runs in North Carolina. So that's not really something that I'm not gonna say they scare me in a way, or they put fear in my heart in a way, but that's not really something that I'm like phased or controlled in, because like comparison wise, uh when I stepped into the scene, even in prep, I was playing against them and they were already college guys. So I was already confident enough to stand up against them. My confidence in the way how I'm looking at it, the way how my mindset is that their 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 seniority and things of that nature may have given them an edge in regards to experience, but who's to say that my experiences and what I've already been through at a young age hasn't already sharpened me and made me better than them tenfold?
Yeah,
Now, of course, like for me per se, I'm not gonna sit back over there and say like I'm better than them as of right now. Nah, I feel as if like I can meet up to their level just at a faster pace. That's just pretty much what I could sit back over and say. I'm not phased by the names. I'm not phased by the lights. I'm phased by one thing and one thing only, and that's just putting my heart or effort on that 94 feet of hardwood. Plain and simple.
yeah. I I understand what you're saying, what you're going for. It's that youth could have teams wanting you more with the new two and through rules. You're going to be touching the SWBA floor at 18. Most guys are, or 18 or 19. Most guys are at 20. That's another year of development teams could want from you.
Right, right, right. I've also thought about that too, especially with now like the rules starting to become like a bit of a rumor and things of that nature. I've always sat back over there and wanted my development to be clear, as well as of course my development to be at a pace to where I know I could be able to stand stride with the top ones there. So for me, I put a lot of thought process in that. If they do happen to do it, I mean, I would probably look and see into it and just probably get a better understanding. But with me being the younger guy as is, I'm kind of like focused on honestly just trying to make an impact at this present moment in time for Jackson State right now.
Yeah, I take it day by day. But how about the toughest player you've had to defend, and what made him so tough?
I have to say it is Barkley, to be honest with you. Um, Barkley honestly is one of the toughest players due to the fact that the matter is that he's not like the other James brothers. Like with Isaiah, Isaiah's pretty much like a stocky powerhouse type, mid range type guy. But Nari, I want to say he's a quicker. He's not a quicker guard, but he's one of the guards that kind of like got a balance between quickness and strength. But Benari is just all shiftiness, all scoring, all gas, no breaks. So between the three, Benari just pretty much is one of those guys that I really, honestly, I game playing a lot for, especially for open runs, especially when I'm guarding him, because it's just like you got to stay in front of him, you got to stay contested with him. You can't not give him no airspace. Plain and simple. And even if he does create tough shots, you just got to tilt your hat to it. Honestly,
Yeah, and that's such an impressive family, I'll say. But how about the guys you're really close with in prep? Because I've had a lot of people on over the last few weeks, and the two names I've heard as common denominators are you and Kai Killen. So, what are you and Kai the SimWorld U social butterflies in a sense, Jay?
I wouldn't say that. Now, honestly, uh, I love Kyle to death. That's my brother from another mother, if anything. But I don't know. I would sit back over there and say it's just the way how I am. Like I said, I don't care for making friends. I don't care for making enemies. I'm just like that relatable person, I guess. If anything, especially when it comes down to just seeing multiple perspectives. Uh, but in regards to basketball wise or like the form of basketball, I mean, honestly, I just pretty much I just know it's just I guess it's like the passion of basketball. Like I just love to talk about it. I love to be around it. So if you want to call me a social butterfly because of my passion, I mean I'll accept it like that. But
No, it
no, I
wasn't
wouldn't
meant to
say
be an
I'm a
insult.
social butterfly like that. No, I'm just saying like if it was like a compliment like that, I wouldn't really say it like that. I don't know. It's just I'm very passionate of the game, so I always talk to multiple people. If it's not Kai, it's Quincy. If it's not Quincy, it's Jackson and Juan. Especially since both of them are in Mississippi right now. Um, I actually went to Starksville. Well, they call it Stark Vegas. I actually went to Stark Vegas. I think just before I drove through there, just before I actually went to Louisiana, and talking to them two got a lot to sit back over and team up for at Mississippi State. But I told them off rip, Jackson State is actually going to be the best team in Mississippi as of right now. They don't believe me, but I'm gonna make sure of that. We got a bet going on with that one, so yeah.
Ooh, okay, a little bit extra on the line, but do you have a pregame ritual, Jay? Anything you're gotta do before a game? A song you gotta listen to, something you gotta eat, like anything that is like a
So I have a
superstition of
playlist.
sorts? What?
I have a playlist. Like, so for me, I listen to a lot of I listen to a lot of Dave East, honestly. That's one artist I listen to on a regular. Um, and then other than that, I just do a lot of affirmations and a lot of mantras in my head. Because honestly, just before a game, I'm pretty much like an introvert. Like I don't want to be bothered. I don't want to be talked to. I don't want to even if you're talking to me or anything like that, I'm pretty much like locked in and zoned out on the whole outside noise and I'm literally talking to myself. Uh I want to say it's kind of like an inner switch to where I turn from Jay to pretty much just like Midoriya basically. I don't want to say it like that, but it's just pretty much what it is. Like on the court, everybody call me Jay. On off well, excuse me, off the court, everybody call me Jay. On the court, everybody call me Midoriya. It's just basically like Kobe with the Black Mamba type mindset, I guess. Like I just pretty much have like this little switch or this little alter ego to where I pretty much just have to stay locked in, stay ready, um, see the game, be the game, I guess.
Okay, I respect that. Nice little SimWorld launcher, but anything that people don't know about you that like the average person would look at you and be like, really?
Well, as of right now, I mean, like I'm writing a book. So, as for me personally, I mean, like
Tell me more.
been writing a book about myself. Well, excuse me, not about myself. I wrote this book, or I'm starting to write this book. It's called Black Crowns. If you like urban dramas, it's pretty much takes place in the city of Brooklyn. It's about a young African American boy who's actually going to an HBCU as well. But it's like a HBCU that I created in Brooklyn. Uh, a lot of lore. I honestly do happen to have it posted as of right now. I actually sent it out to a lot of my friends, and I actually sent it to Coach Pope. He actually read it a little bit. Say he liked it, spread it to his friends and everything. Um, but yeah, I mean, other than writing a book, I mean, a lot of people know I game. Um, outside of basketball, I mean, I'm just basically your average Pokemon trainer, I guess. I just enjoy the journey. To be honest with you, I just walk around and enjoy life and find what vibe is out there, and just pretty much just enjoy it day by day. That's just pretty much how you got to be in regards to life. You can't really focus on so much stuff. I know it's been a lot of negativity zone out within the last like couple of weeks and a half, but I mean, for me, what most people don't know about me, I'm a writer. I dabble from time to time. I'm trying to become a linguist. I cannot say it right. I'm trying to
Linguistics?
become more. Yeah, there you go. More linguistic. So pretty much, I'm trying to become more fluent in regards to Japanese, especially since I watch a lot of anime. Spanish, Portuguese. My grandfather actually speaks Portuguese, so that's why I'm trying to become more fluent in regards to that. He actually has a house out in Dominican Republic. So yeah, being speaking Portuguese is actually pretty profound for me right now. Other than that, I mean, like I said, I'm just your average Pokemon trainer, I guess.
I can't believe you're writing a book. Like, it sounds like a really nice premise for something like that. And how do you know how deep you are into writing it, or how people can find that?
Well, I published it already. It's on royalroad.com. My first three chapters is already published. Um, Now, of course, since I've been driving back and forth between Louisiana and Mississippi, I haven't really had the time to actually keep going with the book as of right now. So I did put a pin on it. But as of right now, so I'm gonna say it like this for you guys. It's a book series. It's kind of like It's kind of like the Harry Potter series, but except it's not 8 books. It's 5 books. The first book is called "The Thrones We Inherit." The second book is called "The King's Plan." The third book is called Kingdoms Fall. The fourth book is called Kingdoms Renewed. And the fifth one is called um, World Reign. So it's a lot when it comes. It's a lot that comes down into the book. It's a lot of twists and turns. A lot of like standpoints, and honestly, it's more or less takes place in regards to modern era times. It speaks about modern gentrification, speaks about the changes in regards to society, the way how the views of society is. So it opens a lot of perspective, it opens a lot of mindset to where, you sit back over and you actually look into life from a different perspective, basically. Like my grandmother before she passed away, that's also one of the things I like to do beforehand. I love to say a prayer with my grandmother from time to time. So before a game, I love to say a prayer. I guess if anybody want to know that about me, but my grandmother used to say back in the day, it's always three sides to every story. It's your side, their side, and the truth. So for me, I've always sat back over there and always, especially when it comes down to narratives or politics, anything, period, point blank, I look at the cause and the effect and the reasoning, basically, if that makes sense. So I look at everything and try and piece it all together, try and learn more about the way how, observation, well, not observations, but the way how society behaviors or social behaviors are, philosophies. I pretty much dabble a lot into that. So it's a lot about me that just comes to show that I pretty much have a bigger head on my shoulders. I even thought about a lot of things outside of basketball. Hence the reason why I started writing a book, because I thought about life outside or after basketball included, for myself. What would life be like? What would I do? Because you never know. It's no guarantees when it comes down to anything in life. It's no guarantees when it comes down. I could be a number one perennial all star, playing basketball. So, with everything going forward, it's not like I doubt myself, but it's just like I look at it realistically. So I always keep myself busy. Um, I guess that's the ENFP in me, always wanting to keep myself with new ideas and
Yep.
keep myself going, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, that's always been me. Other than that, I mean, I just dabble from here and there, just try and find myself a different hobby. But as of right now, the most important thing I'm doing is writing a book. Um, I do write light novels as well. Like anime novels and things of that nature. I did write one. I might have to post it for the SimWorld so everybody can enjoy it and read it. But
Yeah. I would read that.
that's pretty much what I do.
Monte Parson has been vocal in saying that after his career ends, he would be interested in going the sports journalism route. With all of this writing experience you have, is that something that you've ever considered?
What's crazy is, yes, I've actually have considered that. I've actually written, so for my high school final paper, I actually did write a sports journalism topic. I actually wrote about how social media would change the narrative in regards to how the sports industry is actually looked. So my paper back in the day, especially was like for me, uh, being like having that experience and things. My paper back in the day talked about how the 2012 NBA, well, excuse me, the 2012 Dream Team and the 1992 Dream Team debate came because of a one profound tweet from a random person back in the day. And the next, ESPN started dabbling into it. So I started talking more in regards to how social media plays effect as a whole in regards to, the sports industry. Because, now anybody could say something negative about somebody in the sports industry on Instagram or something of that nature, and the next it just starts spreading a rumor. So honestly, I would not have an issue with me becoming a sports journalist. I feel as if like I have a lot of knowledge when it comes down to sports, especially basketball.
Yep, definitely seen that.
Being being as my grandfather. So like for me growing up, I've been in the basketball industry for so long. Like my grandfather started a basketball tournament. I know I said this like multiple times, but my grandfather started a basketball tournament like 1972. It got it literally got sponsored by the Knicks in I believe the 80s. So like my grandfather being a part of the business or at least being a part of the sports brand industry, if that makes sense. I've seen the way how contracts are made. I've seen the way how executives talk and how they look at how their image is. That's the reason why like representation and like personal branding it is a lot when it comes down to it. Um, so a lot of people may you may need to like double take when it comes down to who you are as a person. Even myself, really, because there's some times to where like you kind of break your character and things of that nature from time to time.
Yep,
Me
definitely get
growing
that.
up, yeah. So like for me growing up at that young age, like when I finally told myself I was gonna play basketball or at least make a career out of basketball, I was like 8 years old, and my grandfather literally asked me that question, and I believe I don't remember what happened. Like we were watching, we were watching a college basketball team. Yeah, we were actually Syracuse versus Louisville, and I know Skinny gonna love this one because that was the game that Louisville actually came back. That was that game with James Sutherland. He scored 17 3-pointers in the Big East, the final Big East as we know it, before Syracuse and Louisville ended up going to the ACC. That was the final championship game I actually watched, and I was 8 years old at that time when I said I was gonna make basketball into a career, or at least use basketball as a platform to make a career out of myself and for myself. That's basically what I said for
Yeah.
myself. My grandfather asked me because I was so excited. Honestly, I was cheering. I'm not gonna lie. I was cheering for Syracuse at first, but it was only because I wanted James Sutherland to hit the or break the record. Then next thing you know, as I seen Louisville and coming out of North Carolina, because
Yep.
that homeboy he was crazy in that game. He scored 24 points in that game, and Louisville rode that whole momentum all the way to the
Yep.
national championship game. Even though Skinny, I ain't gonna say, I'm gonna say this 1,000 times to you, Skinny. Peyton Siva was not fouled by Trey Burke on that block. That was not a foul on that block. That was a whole clean block. Michigan was robbed that NCAA championship. But anyways, I could argue with Skinny about that tomorrow.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, in regards to the sports journalism, question things for not to go or sidetrack.
All
I
good.
definitely see myself making an impact in regards to that. Probably freelancing every once in a while, but I don't know. It really all depends on how the cards are dealt.
Yeah. Impressive that you are writing books and you graduated high school at 16. I think that's something people do forget about you.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
Jay, I do have one final question for you on this episode, and you mentioned him earlier when we were talking about reading your book, and that's Dre Pope. You said like he's coaching at South Carolina now. You're from North Carolina. You committed to Jackson State earlier, but if you had been given the opportunity earlier to reunite with Coach Pope and SimWorld U, would you have taken it?
Uh, you know what's crazy? Me and Coach Pope actually had this conversation. Um, I want to say yes, but I also want to say no at the same time because so this is the whole reason on why I want to say yes and no. Yes, because of course me and Coach Pope, we already have that chemistry. We already have that history of winning the championship together. We know what it takes in order to win championships and win games. We know, and we can coexist together, as point guard and, coach. Pretty much like Billy Donovan was to Rick Pitino, basically, if that makes sense. Could be that type of relationship, if anything. But I want to say no because I really honestly don't want people to categorize me as being, Coach Pope's shadow, basically, if that makes sense. Like I want to be my own person. I want to be the my own. It's my own career. It's my own vibe. Like, of course, if the cards in the future play together to where Coach Pope and me end up being on teams again, or we end up teaming up again. To be honest with you, watch out because now next thing you know, I have more experience. He has more experience on his own, and we both coming together. We both coexist. We already knew what it happens to win championships. If that happens, I mean, I say look out to the rest of the SWBA or SWU if whatever happens that way. But in any case in point, I mean, it's teeter totter. I probably would not have went if I was given the opportunity at first hand to reclassify, and Coach Pope did happen to go. And honestly, like I told, and Rick Carey actually asked me this question too. He said, because we always talked about teaming up too, and it was talked about. So it was asked at first, hey, if there was ever an opportunity, would you think you would come to South Carolina, or would you think about would you have thought about like coming over to South Carolina if anything? And we both came to the agreement. At least he already knew offhand. I'm pretty sure. He even said it first at hand. He said, "I was pretty sure you were gonna want to do your own thing anyway." But man, I mean, like even within the Doc Ock Sinister showcase, besides day two, that whole that whole like imagery of us teaming up together and matching up and being on the same side, we both know that would just be a dangerous sight for all teams. I mean, I'm just gonna be real.
Yes, that I agree with. And just a final send off question to you, Jay. Where's the best food at? North Carolina, Mississippi, California. Which one have you enjoyed the most?
See, the ironic thing about it is I'm gonna throw you with a trick answer. So it's actually in Brooklyn. The best food is actually in Brooklyn. The best pizza,
Good
the
answer.
best, the best, the best burgers. If you ever go to, so if anybody ever goes to New York and you happen to go to, let's say Manhattan, there's a place just off Washington and West Fourth that is called Gary's Papayas. They make one of the best burgers, but it's not even just a papaya. It's not even just that. They make the best papaya smoothies ever. I promise you, you gotta try one. I guarantee you're gonna be knocked off your socks.
I
But
yep.
if I had to pick between those three states, I would have to say it would have to be. Honestly, I'm a big barbecue fan, so I'm gonna have to go with North Carolina in regards to the barbecue. I never tried Jackson, Mississippi barbecue yet though.
Okay.
So I'm gonna give you an answer once. I'm gonna give you my second answer once I taste that and go in comparison. But between everything else, I would have to say North Carolina out of those three states
Yep.
that you offered out right now.
Nothing good like home cooking. That is.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm a New York native, so I approve of the New York answer. But we'll definitely have you back on the show again soon to give me an updated answer. So that's gonna do it for this episode, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Jay, for taking so much time out of your busy day and your schedule to talk to me. And it's a great time as always. You're always welcome to return back to the show. And for the viewers at home, hope you enjoyed the special episode of the J Rock Show. And remember, SimWorld is the only place you can see the game, be the game. See you with Pablo Guzman on Friday.